a while. We are. It just kind of happened, we had, my bass player retired, so he kind of wanted to travel, and then the electric guitarist, the lead guy, he just had a baby. And then one of them worked with Matrix, so his job was over, so he got sent back to Virginia. And then one quit. So it just kind of seemed like a good time to pause it out, but we're pushing our live. Well, we're recording a live album over the next, we've started already, and we'll finish in the next month. And then we'll have about 6 months off, and then we'll come back with a second. So it'll be good. And I'm going to do some things I used to do, like racing. I used to be this time when I was fit. But, I want to do this duathlon.
I saw that you posted it to see if anybody wanted to go with you.
Yes, I know. I'm going to do it regardless. But have you...
Road or mountain?
Mountain. You got to come get dirty with me, Angie. So much more fun than on the road.
Those rocks, tree roots.
That's why you just go faster and you just roll right over them. And then when you don't, you have something to take away and be like, I'm awesome. Do you see this bruise? But, and I got a dog to train with me. So I don't have to go by myself anymore.
What kind of dog did you get?
She's a lab puppy. She's 8 months old and crazy. But she's actually small for a lab. We got her from Piper's Playhouse. We've been trying to find like one of the iCanine dropouts. Yeah. Just because I wanted her to mountain bike and run, so it couldn't be like a retiree.
Yeah.
But I kept waiting, and we went in there on one of the fourth Fridays, my niece and I was telling them, again, what I was looking for, and somebody had brought her back. Like these two hikers had found her on a mountain, and she hiked out, and she was like 2.5 months old, 2 miles with them, and they got her and kept her for a few months, and they found a family to adopt her, and then they got some sort of illness or something and had to give her back, and she's perfect for us. So, other than peeing on the floor all the time. But so does my toddler, so,
And it's hard to train dogs when you're working.
Yes, it is. It is, definitely. But she is kennel trained, and she is a little bit older, so that does make it easier. But we've only had her, this is our 3rd week. So this weekend is our first train. We're going running, and we'll see how she does. But I think that'll help also with her activity level. I hope. But yeah, that's actually, I met Angie through the Anniston Runners Club tri-team, and when I did like my first few triathlons, we trained together all the time, early in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing one this weekend.
What are you doing?
The Wet Dog in Scottsboro.
Oh, I remember, that's the one where you get to go on the interstate.
I don't think this one's on the interstate.
Okay.
I think it's just a small.
Well, I'm trying to get back on the mountain more. We know our Darren Sims broke his hip Saturday,
Yeah.
and he's like a huge component. He just got his certification to teach and to lead rides and all of this stuff over the past year. So,
How long is he going to be out for? Like, what's the recovery time for that?
it's going to be a while. It was a full hip replacement. So, yeah. They thought they were going to have to airlift him out, but he wouldn't let him because he's tough. But, yeah, I probably got about 1 million texts that afternoon, like, are you on cold water? Something really bad's happening. Please tell me it's not you.
What's going on?
I know. Like, no, it's not me. But, yeah, so I'm trying to get back up there to kind of be able to be in shape and actually do stuff again.
He's renting mountain bikes now, isn't he?
Mm-hmm, yes, but I have two, so if you ever want to ride, I know it would fit you. Full suspension and a 29er. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
You would never go back to road.
Really. That's what a lot of people said.
I haven't picked my road bike back up, really at all. Just, there's a lot of danger out there when you're on the road. A lot of aggression and things you can't control, and it's like, if I hit a tree, it's my own fault, you know? I can handle that.
somebody runs you off in the ditch, then you gotta kill somebody, so.
Yeah, or at least like, be really mad and Facebook hate on them for a long time or something. Not be happy, that's for sure. But they're actually, starting the downtown portion of the Ladiga Trail supposedly this summer. But the acquisition for the second phase, linking over to Turner Park, they said is going incredibly quick. So hopefully we'll have more options, and then they'll have the Greenway going from the Ladiga over to Coldwater. And we're actually having a race in August that we're going to start in Zen Park and then ride up. It'll be really, really neat. So, and it's an enduro race, so it'll be cool.
Hello. How are you? I know Angie, but I don't think I met you. I'm not sure. Nice to meet you, Carol.
Actually, Margie was supposed to come, but she did something.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very good.
I guess,
Now, what's your last name?
this,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. How are you? Okay, right here.
She is almost here.
Okay.
So if you want, we can go ahead and start doing intro in just a couple minutes,
Okay.
and then we can pause.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll go through all the portions until I pop out and do the walkthroughs. And that would give us a couple of slides. That would give us about 10 minutes, maybe, or less. Who are we missing?
Here's some people pulling in right now.
Okay. All right, so I guess what we're going to do, we'll go ahead and start the beginning portion, and by then, hopefully, the food will be here. So the second part of it, or the middle part of it, is like a live walkthrough. We'll actually show you all of the steps as it happens, exactly how it would happen. So we'll pause once y'all get your plates, and then we'll do that part. Is that
So
good?
apologize. Chick-fil-A is running like about 25 minutes behind right now, and trying to time it so that it's warm.
Well, we are notorious
Yeah, here is-
people, so we can have a little bit of understanding with that.
Yeah. I see a couple more people pulling in. Let's let them walk in.
I'll get rid of my ugly Diet Coke can.
Y'all just grab a seat wherever. We haven't started yet. The food's running late. It'll be here in just a minute. Okay. Do you want me to introduce?
Yeah. You have to come stand over here so the
I
camera
am,
can
I
see
am.
you.
All right. Well, as people come in, just prepare to make room. But we'll go ahead and get started just a little bit now. So, my name's Chris Williams. I've started this company quite a while back. I know some of you are our clients, the majority of you, but just wanted to give you a little background on the company. We started as a website design firm about 9 years ago, very nearly 10, and we are and have grown over the last 2 years into a full marketing agency because despite just being a website design company, we did a lot of the things that constitutes a marketing agency for a lot of our clients just unofficially, and now we have solidified that. So the point of these classes, this is the first of 3 social media classes. This is Facebook, and then next month, and there's a sign-up sheet back there in the back, is Twitter, and then LinkedIn
and Google Plus.
LinkedIn and Google Plus will be on the same day, and then we'll continue on from there. We're going to do some advertising classes so that you understand exactly how to run an ad and get the the analytics and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, this will be available on Prezi. You'll get an email with the presentation, and it's on, if you go to widenetu.com, it's on there as well. And then the video itself that's happening right now, uncomfortably for me and Katie for the first time, will be available on YouTube pretty much within 5 to 10 minutes after this is over.
If you go to all 3
Yeah, I don't know about
classes, you will get a certificate of completion saying that you're now like one step closer to being a social media ninja. So make sure you come to all of them.
It's as a lot of the karate places around here do, we charge $35 per stripe, and then you get a belt, and then $35 for 5 or 6 more stripes, and then eventually you'll be a yellow belt.
Yeah.
So no, we're excited to have you here, and it's exciting to see this grow already just in the few times that we've done it, and to have a few people on webinar. And if you want to attend by webinar, we're currently doing it through Google Hangouts, but you're able to ask questions, and we will interject some of those as well through that. I'm going to be monitoring that. And if you have questions throughout this, don't think of it as just a formal class where you have to just sit there and listen and take notes. Ask questions and let us help you in your particular situation as we can. So with that being said, this is Katie Cairo, and I'm going to turn it over to her.
All right, everybody, welcome to Upgrading Your Status as Facebook Best Practices in Analytics. We're just going to kind of start right at the beginning with cover photos and profile photos. So one of the most underutilized pieces of space right now is your cover photo and your profile photo. These things can speak volumes to the tone of your company, your mood. You can really be incredibly creative with how you do it, and there's a lot of different options on how you market yourself through this. So what I've done is just kind of go, and these are all current pages, so you're welcome to look at these later and kind of see what they're doing. But we're going to start here with Starbucks. So they've done a really great job. I'm not sure if these are Instagram photos, if they ran a contest and had people submit, but they've done a really awesome way of showcasing the creativity and the culture that they surround with Starbucks. And hey, make it your own. You know, we're open here. We like to participate in lots of different ways, and show us what you can do. You know, show us how you make Starbucks unique. And it's a perfectly great representation of their brand, but also really involving their customer base. So it's kind of twofold on the engagement level. You can look at Lowe's. They've gone a slightly different route. They've got this really great graphic over here. It's not going to work. That's nice and pretty. Hooray for summer. They can take that away, use it in a post, maybe use it next year. There's lots of ways that they can use that piece. A really great, possibly stock photo, but it looks really nice. There's nothing that's specifically targeting it to this campaign or this cover. So there's 2 wonderful graphics that they've now invested into that they're going to be able to use multiple times. And that's a really important thing when you start looking at how you're marketing your company through these types of posts and cover photos, profile pictures. How can you reuse this content? I can't stress that enough in social media because it takes a lot of work, and the more that you cut that time out by making graphics or using posts that you can use a lot of different ways will really help you save on your overall effort. So Tough Mudder, this one was pretty cool because I've always wanted to do the Tough Mudder. So when I typed it in, I was thinking about all of the really cool graphics or pictures that they could use, you know, and I was like, this is going to be really engaging. And then I got there and it was this picture, which really was shocking, and it's just wonderful. I mean, it completely reflects their brand. You know, it's all about teamwork and building a community and getting through something that's maybe not the most comfortable because you're literally covered from head to toe with mud. But it's a really great representation, and it's not something that took a lot of professional time. I mean, this was probably a photo that was snapped at the race, and they've done a really, really great job of showcasing their culture with just this really simple photo. So it doesn't always have to be incredibly complicated, and that's the other thing you need to think about is simplicity is really important as well. Another thing I want to stress is that you can only have 20% of your cover photo be text. So if you ever wanted to run any type of promotion or any type of advertising, if your cover photo does not adhere to that specific rule, they will kill it. They'll take it down, and it'll pretty much just leave you dead flat in the water, and you'll be back at square zero. A good way to figure that out is you can kind of like split the picture up into quadrants, and you can see, you know, how much room am I taking. And they even have a grid tool that will send you the link after this, that you can put your photo in and test it to make sure that it adheres to those principles. So here we've got ModCloth, and they've done a really, really creative way of kind of the same idea of Lowe's, where they have this nice graphic with a photo, but they've gone one step further and included their hashtag that they're currently promoting to get people to share across other mediums, whether it be Instagram or upload your photos to Facebook, tweet us about how you're using us in your summer, as well as involving the profile photo, which still is perfectly branded, but just really pairs well with this cover photo. And that's really nice to see. And you'll see that with a lot of like alcohol companies. They'll have, you know, the portion of the bottle will be their profile picture, but then it goes up into the cover picture where it's almost like a seamless transition. So that's a really creative way to kind of rethink the way that you're using. Now, Cisco is another really neat example of a great just stock photo, but they put a really powerful call to action here. Tomorrow starts here. Call us. We'd be more than happy to tell you more, and their phone number. It's strong enough it stands on its own. You know, it doesn't have to be that complex, but you know exactly what you need to do to find out more information, and I think it's represented. I mean, they're saying they're on the cutting edge of technology. That's a great example of, again, simplicity winning. So Prezi, that's actually the program that I'm using right now for this presentation, and it's another great example of a great simple call to action. So you've got this really nice stock photo of a guy who's probably about to walk into his presentation, and he's feeling super confident because he just nailed it. Because he went in with a really awesome way of presenting that nobody was expecting, and it kind of takes it to that next level. So there's a lot of different ways that you can represent your company and meet your end goal within these different types of covers. We've got another one here with kind of the same mix of a graphic with a photo, but again, even if you split this right here, you can take this all out summer, use that in one way, have this graphic as another way. Even their profile picture still ties into the overall color theme of what they're going on. So it's really, really nice and beautifully designed. Our next example is Birchbox, which if you've been in any of these classes, you've probably already heard me talk about it. I love Birchbox. Their entire July box is all about cleanse and health and ways to keep yourself in shape throughout the summer. So a really simple photo, very simple text. Enough said. You know, it represents perfectly what their current campaign is and does a really good job of engaging you. And even their profile photo, while it's not incredibly complicated, it's nice and branded and visually appealing. And here you have another really great one. One of the really good things that you can try and do when you start looking at your cover photo is target a very specific audience. If you know that you have a large demographic that's teachers, maybe run a promotion that month that completely targets teachers, talking about what they can do in their classroom or educational supplies that you have on sale or whatever it is, but hit that demographic and talk to them specifically, because the ripple effect off of that, they feel validated because they realize that you know that they're a big portion of your sales or your customer base, and then they're sharing and they're interacting, and then their other friends are seeing you. So that's a really, really great way to pull more types of people in with just coming to your page. They see your cover photo, they see your profile photo, they know what's going on. So appropriate things to use here would be an event, any type. If you do have a hashtag of something that you're trying to promote, this would be a great place to put it. Whatever your current theme is, being with the season, or if there's something specific that you have going on at that time, think about those types of things when you start creating this type of graphic, because these things are not meant to just go up, stay up, and be there forever. They're dynamic. You want to change them. And that's another thing that you really need to think about when you start, how am I going to design this? How can it be easily changed? How can you really quickly go back in, tweak it, and have it reflect whatever you are currently doing without a massive amount of work? because it's all about reusing that content that you've already created. I've added on here your dimensions, and I'm going to show you a really, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just going to jump in real fast and say the food is ready, and I know we said we were going to pause a little bit later, but
yeah,
I feel it's
just
just me.
Go ahead and get food, that's fine.
But okay, yeah, so let's just funnel around this way, but just to tack on before we finish this, and then this next slide is very, very important, but you know, what Katie was saying is really the point behind any dollar that you spend, any design that you make, is to accomplish your goal. Now, all of you here are from different industries. If you're with Cooter Browns, then the goal is you want them to come to your restaurant and buy your food, or you want them to use you for catering or something along those lines. If you're with a hospital or a nonprofit, you want donations, you want members, you want volunteers. And before you go and spend money, which we'll talk about in a little bit, you have to spend money on Facebook. It's just useless these days without it. But I'm not going to steal that. Sorry. Yeah. Before you spend that dollar, though, you need to use this cover photo, because that's where you're going to drive them. If you're staying within the Facebook walls, you're going to drive them to your page, and that cover photo is the first, biggest, brightest thing that they see, and it's the equivalent of your banner ad, and you wouldn't just slap a banner ad up anywhere with no purpose on it. So with that being said, sorry, I just want to tack that on, and there's a link at the bottom of this slide as well, Wix.com. You'll get the presentation. You can click right on it from the link and see, I guess, these and probably some more. But y'all can go ahead and jump up, and let's just funnel this way, make a line, and get some food.
People, give us a minute. Yes.
While people are in line, hi, I'm so sorry.
Oh, hi, nice to meet you.
So, this is obviously
And that's one of the things that we'll be adding in when we send you our email is like, okay, let's take this one for example. This is probably a stock photo which they purchased, but just putting these little boxes, there are free tools that you can use on the internet to get that done. Or even if you knew exactly like, this is the kind of thing that I want, that would take us a relatively small amount of time.
like, I have, for example, I have an ad that I have for around here, and I put it out in the car.
If anyone wants water,
but anyway, so one of the things this
So that could be something that you would want to Yeah, and even add it with a hashtag to have it inside that video. And well, you don't, hashtags are universal. They're not just for Twitter, they're for Facebook, they're for Google+, they're for everything. What a hashtag does is when I decide to I'm having a super fun time, hashtag, Community Foundation super fun, or super fun, something like that. And that way, when you go back and you're trying to see where's the ripple effect of this campaign, you can type in up at the top search box, hashtag super fun. And then it'll pull up all of everything that's ever been said with that hashtag. So you can see, are people communicating, hey, that person put up a photo, I want to bring that over to my page and share it. So it just kind of, it makes it searchable. Is really just what it does. It kind of helps you.
When I saw this, I saw, okay, this is like a text box over a picture, and like you upload the cover photo, but this is like a whole new.
It is.
So you're going to cover all that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I actually, we worked on having these programs. I've got my graphic designers looking tomorrow. But they will be, when we send you the follow-up email tomorrow, you'll have those links.
Yeah, see, that's what I want to do. When I go that super fun day, it's going to roll out in that non-smart photo. We'll color out that very first.
You need those exact same things for represented on
that on
Facebook.
my website.
Exactly.
And Mike and I actually got things, and he's talking to you about what we, y'all, about what we've talked about.
Yes.
But that's what I want to do, is I want to be able to roll all that out, and then some of, you know, click on this small phone, get, because he has the download.
Right. And we have talked a lot about this, and I know with what we've proposed, you have a certain amount of hours in there where we can do things like this for you each month. Like that's what we have. We average on 30 hours a week. Yes, you did. But that's what we're here for. Because, I think we said, I want to say it's 12 hours, and that way we had enough to split between your advertising and then have those for either consulting to help come up with a plan if it needs to be graphic this month, whatever. We can be really flexible as to what you have going on. That way you have us there for that support, so you can stay fresh and on top of what you have going on.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, I just thought I'd take advantage of your time.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what I wanted to show was a different way, because, you know, we even do, when we make a page for someone, we do a really great, oh, I gotta get my PowerPoint. We do a really, I know, we do a really nice branded cover photo, and that's what everyone needs. But then when you're running day in, day out campaigns, you gotta switch it up. You know, you have to be reflective. You can always go back to that.
And that's what I want to do, is sit with y'all and look at what we've got and build in and enhance Facebook.
Alright, I'm gonna grab this really quick. I'm gonna grab my PowerPoint.
Does anybody?
There's 5 viewers.
Nice. I hope they're not losing us.
Yeah. We'll be back in just a minute.
Well, I can tell our webinar viewers, and I can tell you guys, one of the things with these timeline photos, which is what we were just talking about, is that even when we create and set up a Facebook page for your business, the first thing that we do is focus on a really nice branded cover. You know, something that's like sustainable, that's nice, that you can always have to fall back on. These types of things are more dynamic. Like, what do you have going on right now? And anyone that, you know, is a client of ours, we have a certain amount of hours for you. And if this is what if you have some huge event or you have something that you're trying to push, we need to know so that we can create that graphic and keep you fresh and make sure that we're utilizing that cover photo to really, you know, to meet your end goal and make sure that we're driving traffic towards whatever your end goal is. So I just realized that, you know, these aren't like anything that we normally create, but there's a difference. You know, if you go to Lowe's on, I don't even know when August, there's nothing in August, right, other than back to school. It's probably just a really nice branded cover photo. So these are more of ideas to kind of get you thinking creatively about helping yourself stay on topic when you are running these types of promotions, if you're advertising, or if you have something special going on at that time. But is everybody okay? All right, well, I'm going to keep going then, if y'all don't mind. And like I said, please raise your hand, ask questions. The webinar guys, we have a live chat going on, so if you have a question, by all means chat it in and we'll try and get it answered. So this next slide is just kind of a nice graphic that tells you exactly what your constraints are. When you start designing your cover photo or when you start thinking about it, I'm a notorious sketcher. I will draw out an idea and it might look terrible. I mean, you should see some of my thumbs up signs. They're really bad. But in the end, when I go to talk to the graphic designer, she or he has a great idea of where I'm going and what I'm shooting for, whether it's badly drawn or not. And so it's nice to know what do you kind of have to stay within when you start thinking about designs. And depending on your company, you may be very mobile driven. Like, we are very mobile driven. When people come to our website, to our Facebook, it's almost always through a telephone or a tablet. But when we look at Explore McClellan, that's the exact opposite. All of their traffic pretty much goes straight through a desktop computer or a laptop. So think about that kind of stuff, because you can see here, and there's a mobile safe zone. So all that stuff on the sides will never be seen if they're coming to you by mobile. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about your design and how you're going to do it. Where does your traffic come from? And I'm going to show you how, when we get to the analytics, to figure that kind of stuff out. So now, we didn't really hit a whole lot on the profile picture. There's a lot of different ways to do this. I think most importantly, what you need to think about is somehow your brand needs to be reflected in it. So I've seen them where it's someone holding a Diet Coke. You still see the Diet Coke logo. It's there, it's represented, but maybe it's just a hand sitting on a car with a background of a sunset or something. Or if, let's say that Robin at McClellan is, or General Scott, is giving a presentation and he's up at a podium and we have a really nice upshot with the logo on the podium and him speaking. That would still be a really nice, appropriate, non-graphical profile picture. But just make sure, because when you're going out and you're talking on Facebook and you're interacting, your profile picture is your only picture. They don't see your cover photo, they just see that. So you want to make sure that they can connect whatever that picture is back to your brand. When you want to get crazy and creative, do that on your cover photo. So, all right, so everybody, I mean, I obviously deal with data a lot. I'm a big meme fan as well, and I hear a lot of people, they get so overwhelmed when you start talking about data and analytics and all this kind of stuff, but the really best thing I can say is keep it simple. If you don't know how to use the data that you're looking at, then stop looking at it and figure out how to use what you do understand. So don't overcomplicate it and don't get overwhelmed. But the great thing about having this data is it gives you a way to speak to someone specific. It lets you know, when are my people online? When do I need to be posting? What are my best days? Because you can look at our page. I do not post every day for WideNet. If I don't have anything to say, I do not say anything at all. That's not the best way for some people. If you're pushing for donations or you have a lot of events going on, then you probably do need to be a lot more present. But the most important thing is that you stay consistent and relevant and have some sort of value or quality attached to what you're doing. Automation, this gives you another way so that if you can't be there, you don't have something to say, you can post about relevant topics. There's a lot of different ways that people think about it, like the 30 rule, 20 rule. There's just a million different concepts of how you can go about it. But remember that it's you first, and you have a voice. But as long as you're relevant and on topic and giving great quality information, it's okay to borrow from other sources. And that's a really great way to keep that consistency going when you maybe don't have so much to say. And that's where automation really comes into play, because you can see my people are online at 3 p.m. on a Saturday, and that's when I need to post. But I don't work on Saturday, and that's where you automate. You schedule that post. But remember, with automation, you can get bit in the butt hard, really, really hard. If something happens, always remember, hey, I have this thing posted right now about safety in schools, and there was just a school shooting yesterday. I maybe don't want to post that tomorrow. I'm going to make sure I go in and check that in my automation. So automation can hurt you. Just be careful. Try to stay pretty neutral and generic when you are going to automate things. But again, it comes back to quality.
Are you going to talk about tools?
Yes, that's later on. But actually, I am going to talk about a lot of different tools that you can use to automate and keep up with your stuff. But Facebook actually has that option built in now where you can schedule posts, which really, when I say automation, that's what I'm talking about, scheduling posts for a later time. Engagement. Looking at your analytics is going to be the best way that you can actually see, do people really care? It's so easy just to like something. It's kind of lost its value when you look at it like, oh, well, 12 people liked my post. But what does that mean? But 5 people shared my post. Oh my gosh, I just reached 2,000 more people than I normally do. So that's when I keep talking about value and posting at the right time. That's why it's so important, because if people aren't actually engaging into your content, leaving a comment, sharing it with somebody, or doing something with that knowledge, then you're really kind of not hitting the mark. You know, you're trying to get them to do something. So make sure that everything pushes towards that action. And the other thing that we're going to talk about right now, we're about to bump out and go over to Facebook, is paid advertising. The thing that I love the most about social media advertising and digital advertising in general is it relatively costs quarters compared to any other type of advertising. Your average click for an action is around 30 cents. So it's pretty inexpensive when you look at other types of marketing where you're spending thousands a month and not even knowing where it goes, what happened, was there action. You can't follow the food chain. But with social media advertising and Facebook advertising, you can. You can see exactly how it was used, why it was used, what happened after that, and a really nice generic overview of who that person was and who the other people were too. And it kind of just helps you speak to someone specific, which is really important. So I'm going to sit down for this part because I'm going to be walking you guys through this stuff right on Facebook. So we're going to start with our analytics. And when you come in to your insights on your Facebook page, this is your landing page. It's an overview. It gives you a week's shot at a time. And it tells you about your page likes, your post reach, your engagement, and your 5 most recent posts. If you choose to watch pages, you can come down here and add those in. And that just kind of depends. If you have a direct competitor that you know it's really important for you to keep up with what they're doing and, you know, emulate, use what they've got that's working, then it's nice to add those people to your pages to watch. And you can also see changes. If they have some massive spike in likes, what are they doing? How are they getting that? How did their engagement just rise so much? And how can I, you know, kind of use some of that bubble to do the same thing on myself? Yes?
Can they tell if you're watching them?
All that it says is that a page has decided to watch you. It doesn't say which one. But yeah, it does give you a notification to say your page is being watched now. Which, I don't know, it sounds kind of big brother-y to me, but, you know.
We're there.
Yeah, oh, they're there. So we're going to actually go through each one of these categories individually. So page likes. The biggest question I always get is what is a like? Where it's very important to make sure that you're growing at a consistent rate. I don't know how to say this without it sounding terrible, but in the end game, likes don't really matter nearly as much as everything else. Likes is a great way to get people to your page and interacting with it, but a lot of times when you start looking at likes, they're built out of relatives and friends and connections that you already have, but not necessarily quality connections of people that are actually interested in what you're doing and it's relevant to them. They can take it away and use it. So that's one of the things that we're going to talk about when we get over to the advertising is how to target that specific population well. But it is very important when you start looking at likes is the net likes. What has changed? You can go through and see, okay, this day I had 6 unlikes, but I also had, you know, 17 people come in and like my page in general and 10 that I paid for in advertising. So, okay, I lost 6, but, you know, I gained 23, so good day. And it's kind of important for you to say if you have a day that you've lost 20 people, well, what happened that day? What did you do? Maybe you should rethink how you just ran that promotion or posted that because obviously 20 people found it really annoying. So maybe there's a better way to do that. So while I say it doesn't really matter, it's a great indicator as to what's happening and how it's going. The next really great thing is where do your page likes come from? This is really nice when you run a lot of different types of promotions and you start looking at where are these people coming from, how are they getting to my page, and you know, how can I keep them here? What are they doing? Are they finding something on your page that's interested them from another person's timeline and that's how they've made it over and decided to like? Was it an ad or a sponsored story that I ran and that's what drove them over here? Is it some uncategorized mobile, whether it be ad or like or something like that, but it came from a mobile app? And then you've got page suggestions where, you know how you can go into your page and suggest people to like. It could either be you that's done that or someone else. And the last being others. So it's nice to know, you know, I can sit here and see, okay, my paid advertising is really working out well. It's definitely driving a lot of people to this page. And it seems like it's a pretty consistent campaign. So I'm going to continue to move forward with that. I'm not losing so many people that I need to say, ooh, maybe I should rethink this. But what you're probably doing is losing those unquality likes, the people that liked you out of friendship or some sort of relationship but don't really have any interest in your actual business or product.
Katie, the paid, is that the bit where you boost?
Yes, there's a lot of different types of paid advertising, but yeah, that would be a boosted post or an overall page promotion, like where you're just pushing those qualified visitors to your page. So next we have, oh yes.
And who's collecting this data? Do we receive the data of the people coming to our page and liking it? Some other group above us?
It would be Facebook.
Facebook is collecting the data.
Facebook is collecting the data. And so one of the things that you need to also remember is you can't get all the data historically. Some data you can only get for 7 weeks at a time, or just 7 days at a time. It gives you a 1 week snapshot and then it's gone. Unless you use some other third-party source to take care of your automation and insights and stuff like that, which we'll talk about at the end of the presentation.
But what I'm asking, is there any way that we can email or Facebook, whatever you want to call it, back to the people who like our page?
No. And so what you can do, though, is run a promotion or have an email sign-up or even a pixel conversion ad where you're pushing people back to capture those emails to your website. Or have an in-app on your actual Facebook page where you're capturing those emails. But Facebook will not release those emails to the people that have liked you. But that's not the best part about it. You don't need those emails because they're connecting with you. What you need to do is push them back to your website, add value, show knowledge, and you'll get those emails. They'll contact you. So
I would like to add, first of all, Katie, when somebody asks a question, let's try to remember to restate it because I know that
okay.
webinar people can hear it. But the emails are very, very important, and there's a general rule of thumb of you don't want to be subject to the whims of a third party. So if Facebook decides all of a sudden, we're done with pages, and you've got your entire marketing and connection with your clients based on those likes and your page and the ad budget that you put behind that, then you're done. You're basically just screwed. Now, what you do need to do is drive those people, like Katie just said, to your website, to your landing page, to whatever it is that when they get there, they're enticed to give you that information. And then they give you their first name, last name, phone number, email address. They sign up, they volunteer, they buy something, whatever the case is. And I believe you're going to talk about the tracking pixel in a bit. So that's also integral to this process. But absolutely, the emails are important. Absolutely not. Facebook will not give you those emails. That's why it's so easy to just go around and like things. You don't have to worry about signing up for newsletter lists accidentally at all these different companies. So.
But and when we are talking about this, I don't want you to think that I'm devaluing Facebook by any means. It's really, really wonderful, powerful tool. But the end game is your website. The end game is a phone call. The end game is them contacting you or continuing that engagement outside of the site. And this is a really great way for you to promote what you're doing on your site to a demographic that you might not otherwise reach. So that's where it really comes very important. When we start talking about what to post here in a minute, you'll see that's why you need to be adding these things in and having these types of posts coming in that you're engaging them so they take that next step to your website. So the next thing we're going to talk about is reach. And reach is pretty important. You don't want to focus completely on it because the most crucial thing that I can stress to you is this is not about a quantity. You're not trying to just like gain all these people following you or not following, liking you and connecting with you. It's about having those quality people that are actually interested. So reach is important when you look at, I'm advertising, I want to know where my money's going, how many people are seeing this, but it's not an indicator of how good your campaign is actually running. So you can see the difference here between paid reach versus organic reach. So on this specific date, June 25th, if I would have just posted this specific update, it would have only reached 17,000 people, or 1,700 people, excuse me. But because I chose to promote that post, I reached almost 5,500. So it's a pretty drastic difference. Facebook has become a public company, and they have to make their money for the people who have invested in them, and this is the way that they do it. They have an algorithm that it's pretty specific. If you just say, "Hello world, I'm on Facebook today," period, post, almost no one's going to see that because it's just a text update. If you have a really great photo saying, "Hello world, I'm on Facebook today," hashtag, join the conversation, or something like that, where you're engaging them to come and ask you questions or something like that, then they're going to be more likely to show that because it's a graphic image, so it's more visually appealing in their overall timeline. If there's a link embedded in it, it then kind of ranks by current news status, trending, and there's a lot of other things that go into it. But in-game, photos are best, or videos. Secondary is some sort of news link or update, whether it be back to your website or someone else's website. And last case, you can do a text update. But if you're going to do a text update, it needs to be something incredibly important. But still, like I said, I can't stress enough that you might not get seen by that many people without advertising behind it. So even with your photo or your video, you're still not going to reach more than 6 to 8% of your connected audience. So that's why when we start talking about paid advertising, it can be relatively inexpensive when you compare it to traditional marketing, but it is really important. If you don't currently have an ad budget, then that's something you really, really need to consider, because it's a great way to find those quality connections and find those leads that are here in this area.
We're not talking hundreds of dollars. We're talking at least $50 a month. Just devote it to promote your newest post, whatever that post might be. Just $50 is better than just continually posting. You will waste your time otherwise. It has become pay to play, and there's logical reasons behind that we could go into, but they're just in defense of Facebook, and I'm not here to defend Facebook. So, but at least $50, or you're just posting to the wind at that point.
And you can always come and talk to us if it is something that you're interested in. You know, we can try our best to help lead you, whether it be us handle it or, you know, help you come up with an actual budget that's going to work for you and your overall goals. So not trying to sell ourselves, just want to make sure to remind you guys, we are always here, always. So here you're going to look at likes, comments, shares, and this is really important because you want to see, are people commenting on my things? Are they just liking it blankly, you know, not doing anything? Are they sharing it? 28 shares. This is great. People must have really loved this, and they felt like they wanted their friends to see it too. 13 comments. This was a wonderfully engaging post. 152 likes. That's a great metric. But then you come over here and you've got zero comments, 3 shares, 8 likes. So what's the difference here? My guess would be paid ad. I would say that this one was probably not promoted and this one probably was promoted. So therefore we got into the right people by targeting and making sure that we were looking for that quality audience and not just the shotgun spray of whoever sees it, yay! But, all right. So you can break it down into your individual, you see likes, comments, shares. But like I said, you really need to look hard at your comments and shares, because if people aren't joining your conversation, then you're just talking to yourself. If they're just liking it, that's kind of like an empty thing, like saying, hey, good job, all right, I'm going to go back now so you're not mad at me. You know, but I want you to know I was paying attention, but I didn't really care. So look at that, you know, and make sure that you're paying attention to how many people are actually joining in the message that you're pushing out. Another really important thing to look at is the hide report. Spams, did someone hide this post, or did someone hide all of your posts? Down here you can see you just have a relative, one person every once in a while is hiding all of the posts. So I'd say that's still a very successful campaign. You do have a few hide the post completely. Maybe the frequency level was too high if that was a paid promotion or something, and that's just something that you would need to look into the way that you're running your paid advertising. But it gives you a really great indication of, am I overindulgent? Am I putting too much out there? Am I excessively posting? Or am I just completely hitting the mark? And then your total reach again. It's just nice to know how many people are you in front of right now, how many people are actually hearing your message. So like I said, it's not make or break, but this is really important stuff when you start looking at how am I going to target that audience and am I doing it correctly. So next thing that we're going to go to is the visits, and you have a breakdown of timeline, videos, photos, maps, or others. So these are when you look at your Facebook page, which let me pull ours up really quickly. You have these apps down here. Timeline, about, photos, reviews, more. And this will give you the ability to see where exactly are people coming. When they come to my page, what are they looking for? Where are they going straight to? And where am I getting people over and over and over again? And if it's photos, then that's something that you need to really think about and come up with a plan to make sure that you're constantly adding in new photos. If it's videos, then that's something that you need to know. What do people want to see when they get there, and what are they the most excited about? And that's a really great way for you to know where your focus should be when you start looking at targeting that specific crowd.
And remember, remember that when you're coming up with these post ideas, that we heard just the other day, industrial fabrication is just not sexy. Like, what in the world am I supposed to post about on my Facebook page to sell people on that? Yes, with a restaurant or a bar or an event company, it's very easy. Photos everywhere, events all the time, you're always pushing a special. But when you're talking about a hospital or what was the most recent one? Do you recall? It doesn't matter. How about a website design company? What in the world do you post? Well, what I found most effective for us about 2 years ago was I started just posting tech tips. Now, we don't do IT work here, but people just associate you, oh, you know this stuff, so I'm sure you know computers. So we would get calls randomly, but I started posting how to clean up your computer, how to remove a virus, how to do these things. They're not relevant to WideNet, but it helped solidify me and our company as an expert in the field. And whatever your field may be, maybe you're gonna be a bank and you're trying to push home mortgages. Well, the best way to do that is not to go onto your Facebook and go, mortgage, 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 here's a cool picture of a house, and you should get a mortgage with us. By the way, we have mortgages, and tomorrow mortgages are coming out. You should get them. The rates are good on our mortgages. That's annoying, and nobody's going to like you. The fact they'll unlike you, and they will not share it. But if you get on there and you say, here are 10 tips to prepare your house to sell.
Here's ways to improve your credit.
Improving your credit, cleaning up past mistakes, organizations they can refer you to, websites, tips that they can send you to that will help you when you're doing the things around getting the mortgage.
Right. Whether it's you writing them or you finding quality articles that have already been written, you're still giving that value and knowledge to your customer base, and they're going to remember that. When they start thinking about mortgages, they're going to be, oh, I read that great article on AOD's Facebook page. You know, I heard that they're starting home mortgages now. Maybe we should go check out their rates.
Right.
Or maybe they're talking about it to their girlfriend over dinner. You don't know, but you have it out there, and now it's available, and people are going to look to that and use that knowledge.
Absolutely. So just think outside the box, and don't contain it to, this is what I do today. And if you can, I know we're on Facebook. Hey, Facebook owns Instagram, so it's sort of related. Pictures, behind the scenes stuff.
It's great.
People love the mess out of it. If nobody gives a rip about the code that I write, but just seeing us being stupid, shooting a Nerf gun at each other with some code in the background, we're like, Jonathan's over there coding, he's such a nerd. That is viral. That you tag Jonathan in, or you tag a few members of your staff in, and their friends and family see it, and then they share it because, hey, there's Susie Q at work, right? And that's pretty cool, you know, to see them behind the scenes, because that's a side of you. It's hard to think about it this way, change your perspective, but that's a side of you your friends and family don't see. I know my wife's like, when I come to work, or to see you at work, she's back there, by the way, she go, you're just different, you know, you're just cut and dry. I was like, well, gotta get stuff done, you know. But at home, just relax. And that's, so it's a different side of you, and it's fun to see those behind the scenes things. So anyway.
So you're saying if we get General Scott to do the happy dance when we do a $3.5 million sale?
Right.
That should have happened.
It should have been
That
a
should
gift.
have happened.
Yeah,
And I still don't know why there's no pictures of me doing crazy handstands all over the office, because that happens a lot.
Yeah, it does.
A lot. But no, and that's what people want to see. Like, you're a company. It's really easy for you to be a company. But what is really hard to do is show people that you're a company made up of people. And you have things that influence you. And what makes you passionate about your job. And the way that you can do that is through videos, through blogging, through photos, and through off-topic. So I'm going to show you Skittles' Facebook page. It is the most ridiculous collection of posts you will ever see in your life. I don't know if there's a single thing that's actually relevant other than they mention the word Skittles. But it works for them. People love it. People jump on it. It's absurd. It's weird. But that works for them. And so that's what you need to find. What does your audience want? Answer that question and you will succeed. And I'm showing you how to kind of help figure that out through these insights. They can be really powerful. I know they can be overwhelming. And one thing I realized I did forget to show you guys is up here there's this slider. And you can, now I'm seeing all my data for 2 months. Now I'm seeing all my data for 3 months. I can take it back to, I think, 6 months at a time. So if you want to see a long game historical data on what you're going. But I will warn you that when we come over here to the posts and people page, it has to be within that 1 month limit for you to be able to see those demographics. So make sure you switch it back or you'll be sitting there saying, why can't I see anything? So posts, it's pretty self-explanatory. The one thing I would really like to show you on this, which for this specific page is kind of obsolete. Maybe I'll show you over here. What you can see is when are your people online? When are they going to be there? When are they going to see this actively? Because while Facebook is more like a magazine of sorts with a collection of articles that you can always go back and search and look at, it's also very in the now and all about what's happening and relevant. So it's important to know, like, okay, obviously Sunday is not a really great day for us. Maybe we should never post on that day. We're not here anyway, so why even waste my time automating? But look what our great days. The weekend. Wow, Saturday is one of our best days. And what time is that? 9 p.m.? Okay, I really need to rethink the way that I'm posting. Why am I even wasting my time? And that's not just 9 p.m. on a Saturday. It's across the board. The majority of our people are coming in the later afternoon. So I've now switched our entire posting of everything to later afternoon or even evening because that's when my people are there. Whether it's business hours or not, almost all of you probably have a smartphone. You'll get those push notifications. But while you do need to respond somewhat quickly, 12 to 24 hours is completely appropriate when you're looking at a brand, especially if it's the weekend. If you don't know what to say, don't respond. You know, just like it. Say thanks so much, whatever it is, you know, but just acknowledge that people are connecting with you because if they're there and you're pushing out this relevant information, they're going to bite, most likely, especially if it's something that they can take back and use.
Okay. Remember point out the personal versus page and the issues with the apps.
Why don't you take that? I'm not exactly sure where you're going.
Okay, sorry. When you're using your mobile apps, your iPad apps, anything like that, a lot of times you'll go on, let's say I'm on the WideNet page and I go to like something, you think sometimes that you're liking it as yourself, so it showed Chris Williams liked WideNet, but then you go back and it says WideNet liked WideNet's post.
Yeah.
And that makes you look bad.
A little conceited.
So it's actually just better in general. Don't like anything on your pages that you manage from a mobile device unless you specifically want to like it as that brand. It can be done, but it's tricky. And you'll go online, and up at the very top, she can pull it up, it'll show you who you're liking as.
And trust me, I have learned this the very, very, very hard way.
Right. Okay, so see this blue bar up at the very top, just under the search box? It says you are
Liking, commenting, posting.
as WideNet.
So
And
now
no-
I just changed to Katie.
Now she flipped to Katie. So
And you
now
can see
Katie can
my
like a
profile
post.
photos right here. I
Yeah.
can write a post. I can write a review. Chris is a terrible boss. I want to raise.
Yeah.
You know, but you can go in, and I did. I liked it this morning. I liked this post where we opened up the webinar to the public, and that was a great way of me connecting, and I chose to share it because I'm the one presenting. But another thing that I would really like to point out while we're talking about this personal versus pages, one of the best things that you can ever do for your business is separate your personal from your business. You don't need to be sharing and commenting and constantly blasting people with your business on your personal page. Share pictures of your kids, your grandkids, your vacation, whatever that is. And if it's important and it's directly relative to you and you think people would care, then share it. But if they want to know about your business, they'll go like your page. And you're just really, all you're doing there is like fostering those unqualified visitors and leads. I'm not saying it's like the worst thing to do in the world. It's a great way to increase your reach and maybe hit some other people. But overall, the best way that you can go into a campaign is not to try and bank on your personal connections.
And no matter how hard you try, I would suggest, and I imagine if she went down the WideNet page, just look and see if WideNet liked WideNet's post ever. Because as you scroll down, you'll find, you'll be like, oh, 3 weeks ago I did that. And then you can just unlike it as WideNet, and then it's gone and you don't look crazy. So yeah. I would just suggest that.
Yeah, and it's kind of more of a pet peeve than it actually is like a rule, you know. But anyway, that's a really quick one for you guys. Okay, so posts, we've got it also broken down by post types, whether it was photos or links, and then your average engagement for either one of those options. So that's another really great indication of you saying like, okay, people really like it when I post photos. I need to do that a lot more, which seems like a no-brainer, but you know, sometimes you just need that validation to know that you're doing the right thing. Now, let's say you're a lawyer. You might have a lot more engagement and interest on links because you're putting out relevant, you know, topical things that are going on that may be controversial. You're asking questions, and you're kind of polling your people. You're not necessarily doing that so that you can get every single one of those people that likes or comments on that post might not become a client tomorrow, but it's helping you engage that community and get other people in. So, and then the top posts from the pages you watch. We don't, I shouldn't have closed that tab. We don't actually watch any pages. It's just not something I'm that interested in. I feel like if you're always looking at what the big fish is doing or that other person, then you're just being distracted from what you're actually doing. So for me, I just like to focus on what we're doing here and, you know, rate myself on the demographics and data. And but it's not a bad idea to do it, especially if you're a high competitive field like a restaurant or something like that. Then you may want to watch to see what they're doing just to kind of make sure that you're constantly checking in and saying, oh, I need to steal that idea. So people, this is a really great way for you to see. One of the things that I wanted to point out was it kind of depends on the type of business you are. Like, whereas we are more Northeast Alabama focused, we do have some, you know, clients outside of the southern states and things like that, but we mostly focus on this area and region. So for us, it's really important that when we start looking at the cities of where our people are from, that it's, you know, within our nice little circle that we've created for ourselves. But when we look at Explore McClellan, it's a completely different situation with them because they're running nationwide campaigns all the time. They're not going to find their qualified visitors in, you know, Heflin. I mean, they may. I'm not going to, you know, but most likely they're not. We're looking for people to come and spend millions of dollars and develop land. And another great way for us to see, are we being successful, is if all of our stuff is coming from around here, then we are not targeting the correct geographic, demographic, and all of the other things that we can really have a lot of control over and how we're pushing those people to our page. So it's just a great way for you to see, are you hitting the right target? You know, are you connecting with the people that are qualified to come back in and actually be a customer? It also gives you a nice demographic of, okay, my Facebook fans are 57% women, so I probably don't need to post a picture of a girl in a swimsuit that says summer's here. Might not go over that well with my main demographic, but maybe if it's a mom and a kid on the beach, you know, and say, what kind of tech do you take to the beach? That might be much more successful, you know, where I'm still capturing that summer idea of bathing suits, but yet I'm being more relevant to what my actual demographic is. Now, if we were 67% men, I'd probably be a little bit more risque with my posts and maybe, a little off color or something, but that's not the case. So that's when it becomes really important when you start looking at, this breakdown of demographics. And what age are they? Are you hitting the right age? Who are you targeting? If you're targeting 18-year-olds and your main demographic is 35-year-olds, that's a major issue. So where are you hitting where are you missing that mark, and how can you capture that demographic? So this stuff is important when you start looking at what are you doing right and what are you doing wrong and how you can fix it.
I have a question about
yes.
to me, the worst advertising I've ever seen is Dr. Pepper 10. And their slogan is, it's not for women.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Obviously it works because they've continued to do it for years.
Well, men understand that.
Okay. Do I not know that women go to the grocery store and buy groceries?
I'm just.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Well, and I think that would maybe come down to if you look in and I mean, I'm just guessing here, hypotheticals kind of, but if I was to look at the soda market, I would think that probably my main demographic would be women, and so there's an untapped demographic, which can be just as powerful to, like I said, targeting a specific group. They said, hey, the men's market's untapped. Let's do this, and let's do it right. Let's be witty. Let's be silly. Let's be funny. Let's be overly masculine and just ridiculous. I'm going to bite a head off an eagle kind of thing. And it works, because whether or not you like it, you're talking about it right now.
Right. They're still doing it.
Right. And so,
football games and NASCAR.
yep. And Dollar Shave Club is a great example of that. They specifically target men, but I've been a customer now for 6 months, and I am one of their biggest advocates. Even though they don't even kind of try to target me, I love it. It works great. They're the best razors I've ever had, and I save a ton of money. So, sometimes by targeting that demographic really well, you can still get that external demographic in. And I'm not sure, I'll show you one of their posts here in a minute, but if you have not ever been to the Dollar Shave Club website, you should. The video is amazing. I know, sorry. All right, so this gives you people reached, people engaged, and check-ins. Yeah, we don't have that for the right. We don't have check-ins here because we have our map disabled. But so there's your really nice, simple breakdown of analytics. Didn't try to get overly complicated because, like I said, I don't want you to get overwhelmed or confused. It's pretty straightforward. Just remember, don't judge anything off of these analytics. Just see, am I doing it right? Am I hitting the right people? And sometimes a negative is okay if you have a massive positive on the other side of that. So let's get back into, oh, nope, I'm wrong. All right, now I'm going to show you how to promote your page, an overall page promotion pushing for those qualified likes, and then I'm going to show you how to do a boosted post, and then we're going to pop back in and what to post, and we will be done by 1/4 after. So if you guys need to leave, that's fine, but I am going to try and move fairly quickly, move through this stuff. So here, where you come to your home page, you pop into Facebook, and you say, I want to create an ad. So there's this nice little tiny arrow up here, and you click on it, and you can go down to create ads or manage ads. So here is where I've clicked on, well, I guess I need to take you through it. Because, all right, so here I am clicking on create my ad. This is what I want to do. It is going to bring you up a lot of different options of the types of ads that you can create. Page post engagement, where you're trying to get people to share or comment. Page likes, where you're just trying to get those qualified visitors in and engaged with your company. Clicks to your website, just a general overall click if you're rolling out a new website or something's on your front page that you just want them generally to go. That's really great. Website conversions, that's when we were talking about that pixel tracking conversion, where we push them to your website to end goal and a very specific page or set of actions. Like if it would be, I want you to submit for a free case evaluation. It would go straight to that, and it would not count that as a success until they submitted that application. And it would take them to /success or thank you or whatever, and that's how you track that. And we can track it through not only Facebook but also Google Analytics. App installs and app engagement. If you are, let's say, someone that does a lot of different events, or you have an app, this would be really important that you would be able to offer your app right there for immediate download, and that would be something that you might want to think about promoting. event responses can be really disheartening at times because you don't always get the immediate RSVPs, but what you do get is a ripple effect of your event being shown and it's out there and people are seeing it, and that's sometimes just as powerful as the actual RSVP. And offer claims. If you have actual products, you can run a promotion or a coupon, have it, spring sale for 20% off or whatnot. But I'm only going to show you the page likes and boost posts today, and we will have a much more extensive advertising class later. So page likes, here we are, and I've chosen WideNet because I do manage a lot of different pages, so you will have to go and select the specific page. For images, it will give you on right here, it's going to tell you what your recommended size for upload is for each specific type of ad. So for this one right here, it's 1200 by 444. These images that I have uploaded are not necessarily correct. I just tried to kind of show you the best way that I can possibly tell you to make sure that you're successful is to have not variations, slight variations, but drastic variations of the same kind of ad. Like where here we have our current timeline photo, our previous timeline photo, and then maybe I would have other alternatives showing a specific promotion that we have going on, a certain type of event that we maybe have coming up, but just kind of alternatives to make sure that when people are seeing it, they don't see the exact same ad each time, because that can be pretty damaging. But it's going to show you your desktop feed, the way it's going to look when it's in mobile, and a right column ad. And you can choose to, okay, I don't want to do a right column ad. It was really unsuccessful the last time, so I'm just going to go with mobile and desktop. Or, hey, we don't really have that many desktop viewers, I'm just going to focus purely on mobile. You'll come down here and you'll see this nice little meter over here, audience definition. And you want to kind of keep that needle right towards the middle. You want not too specific and not too broad so that you're making sure that you're hitting the right people. So locations, if I'm going with McClellan, I'm not going to have this Oxford on here. I'm going to go for the entire United States. I want to hit everyone. So when I start looking at my age group, well, I'm probably not going to want to hit anybody under 30 because I'm looking at people that are in positions at this point to make a decision on buying a massive amount of land and spending millions of dollars. So I'm going to go ahead and just say 30 and up. Start looking at gender. That's not really that's not something that I think about, when I start looking at this type of targeting. But if you are a specific women's clothing, that would be something that you would maybe want to only target women. Languages, that's, like I said, we're not really focused on global, so I would just stick with English. And I'm going to go down to more demographics because specifically for McClellan, I'm targeting a very specific type of person. So I want them to have a certain type of job title. I maybe want a certain field of study. Relationship doesn't matter. Financials, you could or could not put that in. I'm not sure if that would disqualify too many people, that we would become too specific at that point. Home, you can look at home ownership, home value, household composition, home type, ethnic affinity, a generation. Like for us, we would definitely be targeting Generation X. So that would not be, something that would be outside of our filtering. Parents, like I said, if it was, a back-to-school sale, I'm going to specifically target moms. Politics, if you're a candidate for something or you are a nonprofit that's very politically connected, then you might want to stick with. If you're very, left-wing, then that might be something you want to consider. And/or life events. If I'm an insurance salesman, well, I'm going to want to target people that just had a kid, that just bought a home, that just bought a house, and these are life events that they're going to be posting on Facebook. So you can specifically target that person. Interests. This is a really, really great way to continue to make sure you're fine-tuning in. I don't really care if they like J-Lo or Farrell, but I do really care if they like economic development and commercial construction and things like that. So it becomes really great when you start looking at the types of ways that you can really target that valued person. Behaviors. Is there a certain thing that they do? Are they a mobile device user? If so, well, we're going to target them as WideNet. Do they give a lot of charitable donations? If you're a nonprofit and that's your end goal, you're going to want to definitely target those types of people. More categories, there's a lot of different options and things that you can add into that, but it just gives you that next way. If you have too broad, like right now with what I've chosen, it's too broad of a selection. So maybe that's how I would kind of tailor that down, and you just continue to make sure that you are as targeted as you could possibly be to what your perfect visitor would be until you know, you've got it right. So then you can come down, and you have two options here. And this is incredibly important. Cannot tell you how important it is to make sure, if you have a lifetime budget, do the math, divide it down by day. If you don't set your ad to start and end on a certain day within a lifetime budget, then if you run per day, before you know it, you can be in the hole quite a bit to Facebook, and they just take it out of your bank account. So be wary. I really highly suggest that you just go with lifetime budget. It's the best way to stay safe and not find yourself in a predicament with owing more than you expected. And then you can choose run my ad set continuously starting today, or set that start end date. And then down here for pricing and bidding, for what we're doing right now with this overall page likes, I'm going to optimize for page likes. That's the most important thing. That's the whole point of this campaign. I don't care if they click. I don't care if they see it. I want them to actually go in and physically like it. And that's what I'm bidding for. Now, if it is that where we're going to do this promoted post, it might be different. You know, you might want impressions. You might just want people to see it. Or you might actually want them to click and go over to your website and see that blog that you just posted. So that's where it becomes really important. And then once you've got everything in, you just place order. Facebook will review it and let you know when it goes live. And once it goes live, you're able to monitor it from over here in Manage Ads. Yes, leave this page. And I'm going to get 5 emails today telling me to come back in and complete my order. They have a great empty cart program, by the way. Okay, so then you'll come over here and you'll see your overall campaign. So let's look at one that we did. Once you click on the actual hyperlink that was the title of what you've done, it will take you to this page, and I would not recommend going any further at this point. There's a lot more data that you can get from this, but it's going to be overwhelming and probably just unuseful for you. So this is the best way that you can gauge, am I doing this right? Am I wasting my money? You've got post engagements, which is how many actions. Did they click? Did they like? Did they comment? Did they share? Reach, how many people saw it. You know, how many people was it in front of? And then the frequency of how many times did said person see that. So right here, we've reached 4,000 people with a frequency of 1.01, which means that we actually reached 4,000 people. So that's great. You know, now if your frequency is like 13, that's an issue. You might want to look at that. If it's at 4 or 5 and you're running a month-long campaign, that's acceptable. So, and that's kind of what you need to decide, is what your overall goal is and what the length of your campaign is when you start looking at that. Your total spent and your average cost per action. So this was a really successful campaign. I feel like we got a lot of really great actionable things off of it. We spent, you know, 36 cents per action and reached 4,000 people. And within opening up this class on a Monday, we were completely full by that Thursday morning. So that was $20. That was great for us. So we definitely, that was a very successful campaign. All right, last thing, we'll pop back in and we'll go over what to post and what not to post. If you have to leave, by all means, go ahead. We got started a little late. So right here, this is the post that we did today. And let's say that I wanted to boost this post. I want to make sure that it gets in front of the right people, and I'm willing to put a little bit of money behind that. So you have this little nice box down here that says Boost Post. Click on it, and it's going to give you the option first to target a specific audience. Do you want to target them that like your page, or do you want to choose specific people through location, demographics, age, gender, or interests? This is kind of like a quick start way to do it. You always have these more options down here, and you can click over to advanced options and get all of that individual targeting that I just showed you for the overall page promotion. You can also apply that to this. And you can set your maximum budget. You can choose how many days you're going to post it for, and it's going to give you an estimated people reached based on your budget and the different filters and targeting that you put on top of this. Once you're done and you make sure you have it under the correct account, you go into Boost Post, and as soon as it's approved, it'll start running, and then you'll be able to track it back over in your campaign summaries. So, is there any questions on advertising? All right. Well, then we're going to go back into what to post and what not to post, and then what to do when things go wrong. So here I've got a couple of examples of really great ways to drive engagement for a lot of different fields that were really successful posts. Here you've got Constant Contact. They gave a video tour of their offices and like a typical day in this specific employee. It was really great. They have a lot of followers. They have a lot of people that were connected, and they really enjoyed kind of seeing what happens when you're not my constant contact person. What are you doing? Like we said, is she over there doing handstands in the corner? I don't know, but I would like to know because it's funny and it's interesting. So that's a really great way for you to kind of give another side of your business. Beta Brand is a really great clothing line that I follow. They make work yoga pants and these lots of really cool disco clothing and stuff. It's just kind of weird, but anyway, they do an excellent job with their promotions and their Facebook pages. This specific one, that B that you see over everyone's face, is their actual logo. And what they've done is run a promotion on Be on Our Bag. When we send out our bags to people when they buy stuff, submit your photo and you can be one of the people in our bag. So they have involved their audience into this specific promotion and essentially kind of let it run itself. It's a really great creative way to get more engagement and have that ripple effect of reach. So we have got, like I said, Dollar Shave Club. I love these guys. They do an excellent job with their advertising. It's really creative, witty, and funny. When I get my razors in, there's always a little message like that on it, and they post it and have some little witty comment. And it's great. You know, people really respond to it. You can see down here, you know, it obviously performed quite well.
Jump to what not to post. Where?
Okay. All right, here we got what not to post. Some of the most important things, and if you follow these what not to post rules, hopefully you'll never have to worry about the next part of what to do when it goes wrong. So Oreo, who does an excellent job on the normal with posting and engagement and all these types of things, completely failed here. They answered their own question. What is a smart cookie? Are you a smart cookie? Well, that's what the riddle answer is. So thank you for ruining that experience for me. All right. Massive fail on this part. Over here you've got Volkswagen. So they tried to be really witty and creative and say, oh, hey, I hope you had a great new year. What do you want to see from us this year? But when you ask a question, you need to really make sure that you want that answered, because at the time they were in this massive brawl with Greenpeace, and that's all. It got completely hacked. You just had people complaining and griping to them about how they're, you know, toxic to the environment. So when you ask a question, make sure you want it answered. And think full circle about how people could potentially answer it like this. Great idea, right? You know, let's play the story game. Unfortunately, it turned into not appropriate at all. Jerk off yourself, you know, who struggled to walk in the shop for a refreshing coat due to all the bone-dissolving phosphorus in his favorite soda. You know, I mean, this was really got out of hand, and you can't kill it once it's out there. The worst thing you can do is try and just delete it. So, like I said, really think full circle about the ways that it could go wrong. Skoda Jordan, if you want to see what not to do, these are great people to follow. They do it wrong all day. This has, I mean, it's just completely irrelevant. I don't even understand it. Number one, you can't ask for shares. It's against the Facebook bylaws, which I'll be giving you guys that link also so that you can see everything that you can and cannot do after this presentation. But you can't ask for shares, and I don't even get it. I mean, it's just completely disengaging, and I don't understand it. So this is just an example of being completely inappropriate. You have two people that were killed in an apartment complex, and NBC LA thinks that it's cool for you to like this post so that they know that you're thinking about them. It's not cool. It's not okay. It's completely inappropriate. And if they would have just left that bad part, that like part off, it probably would have been okay. But that just really kind of put a bad taste in everyone's mouth. And I'm sure they had to do a lot of work to crawl back out of that hole. So this one is actually a really neat idea. I mean, the picture is moving, I liked it, and then I started reading it, and is the picture moving for you? Just answer yes. Well, my friends, it's not. You're actually going mad. So you just pretty much called me an idiot and told me that I'm dumb for actually caring about what you just posted because it's not moving.
And they use the wrong your.
Yes. But, I mean, don't condescend your audience when you're asking them to engage with you. I mean, that's just a really easy way to get Facebook hated. Here you just have an example of someone who shouldn't be posting on Facebook. Select like if you agree the best things to cheer for during this bowl is our bowl of artisanal artichoke dip. There are so many things wrong with this. Grey Poupon is another really great page to follow if you want to know what not to do because they rarely do it right. But who even uses the word select like? It's just like, you guys. So this is probably some guy that has no business being on Facebook. Or girl. I'm not going to be gender biased. All right, here is an example of if you don't know how to use a hashtag, don't use it. That's the best thing I can tell you. They're super effective. They make yourself really easy to search. But, I mean, come on, you guys. You're ESPN. You're telling me you don't have anybody there that knows how to do this, right? So, there you go. And you see, I mean, you have probably better engagement off this guy who calls them out than anything else. This is a really great example of spilling all your beans. If you want somebody to find something out, don't give them all the information on Facebook. Give them a teaser. Okay, you have 4,000 characters. That's awesome. You don't have to use them all. I mean, they'll still be there when you come back. So think about that. I mean, they tell you everything that they wanted you to know right here. There's no reason for me to click that link. And really, I'm just kind of irritated that you just made me read a novel about something that I probably would have found interesting had you not, overwhelmed me with your post on Facebook. OxyClean is another really great example of people that don't do it right very often, and it just doesn't really make any sense. I mean, there's lots of ways to maybe do this more appropriately. I can't think of one right now, but it just doesn't really make any sense, and do it. But just a bad example. I mean, okay, you're being relevant, but you're so completely off topic, I don't care. So these guys put in a link that doesn't work from mobiles or tablets, and then they tell you that. So why don't you just fix it and then post it when it's ready? Because don't do this. It's just frustrating. It's a really great way to keep people irritated at you and, again, get Facebook slammed. And that is what leads us into when keeping it real goes wrong. It happens, okay? People get mad. People go to social media to say, I hate this brand. You did me wrong. I was there for 30 minutes. You brought me the wrong food, and then you spilt a drink on me and told me to get out. That's what they're going to do. But when it really comes down to it, they're trying to have their voice heard. They feel like something was done to them that was inappropriate, and this is their way of connecting with you without coming back in and yelling in your face. So I love this Facebook, you're doing it all wrong. If you guys have seen that really great Esurance commercial where the lady's like, but I posted him to a wall, I unfriend you. So most of the time when you do have things go wrong, it's because you have someone that doesn't really understand what they're doing and doesn't have a plan in place. Whoever it is that's in charge of speaking for your brand on Facebook or social media in general needs to have a very thorough, thought-out, full-circle plan of what happens when it does happen. How do we handle this? How do we respond? What is our plan to mediate and get this away? Perfect example is some guy threatening to go kill a bunch of elderly people on McClellan's Facebook page last week. In that case, it was completely appropriate because it was truly offensive for me to block him, delete the post, and report it as offensive and possibly a threat to Facebook. But that's a worst case scenario. Your best case scenario is you have a customer service issue. And instead of looking at it like, oh my gosh, they're complaining about me and they're talking about me, just acknowledge it. See what's going on and see how you can fix it. So number one, control your reaction. Don't scream, don't yell, don't cuss, don't lay the blame. Just think about it for a minute. Number two is be quick, but be prepared. Don't fire off with something that's not fully thought through, that you don't know this is going to work or this is going to be effective, because that can be just as damning as not saying anything. Don't delete it unless it's truly offensive, because that, again, nothing makes people more mad than you trying to control how you're doing everything. If you don't have anything nice to say, then just don't say anything at all, or call in for backup. You know, there's got to be somebody else there that can maybe approach the situation in a calmer way with a better perspective. Jump on the grenade. You know, the best thing you can do is just say, all right, you're right, we did this, I'm really sorry. You know, I hate that this has happened. Thank you so much for drawing it to my attention, and I'm going to make sure it never happens again. And even further, if you can, go the extra mile. Give them a coupon. Give them something that they can attach back to make them feel better about it. Or ask them to email you, take it offline, and make it right. Because 90% of the time, if you put in the effort to try and correct the situation and let them know that you really appreciate it, that they let you know, they're going to probably redact their comment. They might even become your biggest advocate. So it's really important to not look at this as an issue. Look at it more of as an opportunity to turn into an advocate for you, this person that says, you know what, these guys, they really care. Prepare your social response policies. If you have some sort of, we work with a federal credit union. So for them, it's very important that everything goes through compliances. And we have exact scripts of what we say and how we say it to make sure that we're not saying anything or doing anything wrong. That's just as important for someone who doesn't have that kind of regulations going on, because you need to know how you want to say things, how you want to respond to that bad or good comment, and you need to know that everyone in your company is on the same page, because this doesn't just apply to social media, this applies to everything, because every single person that works for you is a representative of you socially and in person. So it's very important that you're all on the same page about how you want to handle situations. And always remember, this too shall pass. It'll be somebody else's turn to be humiliated and Facebook blasted in a day or two. So sometimes it's just a waiting game. I'm going to show you here, Nestle decided that they would not let people comment without them changing their profile photo to one of their older logos. And this is a great way of just completely going out of place. You can't really see the full conversation, but they start arguing back and forth with their fans. And by the end of it, Nestle has probably spent millions of dollars crawling out of that hole over the past few years. So it's really important when you think about it. This isn't going to go away. If you add fuel to the fire, it's just going to burn hotter and consume more of your business and time and effort. So really just think about it, and like I said, be quick, be prepared, and it will go away. So the last thing I really want to talk about is tools of the trade. I've got a couple of them broken down here. Bitly is free. If you don't use it, you need to use it right now. Go make an account. It's really great. What Bitly does is it shortens links for you, and as it shortens it, it gives you the ability to then track how it's shared, when it's accessed, what time, from what type of device, all of these things, and it becomes incredibly powerful. You can bundle types of links together. Like for each of my clients, they have their own folder, so all of their links go right there, and I can really easily check on. Sometimes you can't depend on Facebook to always give you the perfect information. You can't depend on anybody, so multiple sources to make sure that things are actually performing the way they are is really important when you start looking at data, because nobody's perfect. We're all humans, except for maybe Facebook is actually a computer, I'm not sure. But long story short, gives you a really quick, nice breakdown on 50 clicks. Okay, awesome, that was great. People must have really liked that. And you can go even further to see a lot more statistics when you click on the individual. But like I said, it's free, so you should absolutely be using it. Down here, I have my 3 social media automation options, and each of them have their pros and cons, and each of them have free trials. Some of them are free for a certain amount of profiles, and some of them are not. So we'll start with Hootsuite, which is pretty well known. Most of you have probably heard of it. It's a terrible photo, so we'll go ahead and back out of that. But it's a really great way for you to have all of your profiles on once. You can have Google+, you have your Instagram, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, and you can see these like multiple streams of conversations across all platforms. It's great. You can schedule in things. It automatically shortens links. It, however, does not pull in your metadata. And when I say that, if you put a link on Facebook right now, you know how it goes, and then it pulls up the picture, the description, and the title of that page. And you can delete that link completely out of your post, but all that information is still there. Hootsuite does not do that. So then it's kind of like a toss-up whether Facebook decides to do it once that link pushes through. So that's really important to think about when you are posting through Hootsuite. You need to add in that picture and add in that description and make sure you're being really thorough. But Hootsuite is free for a certain amount of profiles, and even after that point, it's relatively affordable. I think it's around $12 to $15 a month, but don't quote me on that. I actually use it for my personal accounts, and it's not, it's not my favorite, but it does work. You do not get free analytics from them, though, or reporting. You have to pay for it, and it is quite pricey. That was my main reason for leaving. Buffer is my new favorite. I love these guys, not only for their customer service, but just their creativity and knowledge. They have one of the best blogs about the type of stuff that we do out there. I mean, they're constantly posting new things. It's engaging, it's relevant, it's stuff that I take back to work and implement for my clients. So they know what's going on. It's actually, you can use it for free for, again, a certain amount of profiles. After that, it's still, like, I think the awesome plan is around $10 a month, and you can connect quite a few with that, but you do not get the analytics without being in the full business partner kind of plan. But it gives you the ability to, again, shorten your links. It does pull in your metadata. But the thing that I like probably the most about it is the fact that it gives me suggestions for content that other people have created that are on topic for me and that's good. It's pre-screened. It's got great images. It's very well written. I can go in and read the article and say, oh, this is going to be great. I'm definitely going to post this. And it kind of helps keep that gap of when you have something to say and when you don't. Constantly engaging. So your other option is Sprout Social, who I also love because of their customer service. And they have tons of free webinars, and they're just really nice. But it is a whole different ballgame when you start looking at price points. It's $100 a user per month. So if you're looking at something like this, you're definitely at a different level than maybe these other two. What it does provide, though, is really great analytics. If you're not a data person and you don't want to look in rows and rows and rows of Excel sheets and grab your little calculator out, this is a great option for you if you want that type of reporting where somebody just gives it to you. You don't have to look in your insights. It's constantly there. You can filter it by times. You can go back as far as you want, and it's really nice. But you do have to pay for it. It also gives you the ability to see other people that follow you, how they're doing, and it gives you that overall feed of all of your accounts going into the one. So it's pretty powerful as well. And that's really about it, you guys. We didn't get to go over the what to post as well, but you guys will be able to see all of those posts. And I think I've attached a link on here. If not, you'll definitely have it in your follow-up email. But yes, I did. The blog 160i. That's a really great article on what to post, how to post, and some great ideas. So thank you so much for coming, and thank you guys for joining us on webinar. We're going to open it up for questions. So if anybody has anything, you guys too, be sure to chat it in.
Also on the back there, for those who aren't here, there's a Twitter class sign-up sheet. We promise the food will be here before lunch is supposed to start next time. It may be a little cooler, but that's going to be coming up here soon.
Third week in July. I mean August.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yes. And I do apologize about the delay and going over. I hope that you found it worth coming to. If you have questions when this is over, please feel free to email them to us. You can email social@widenetconsulting.com, and it'll come to a few of us here. Most likely Katie will be the one to respond if you have questions.
You can Facebook us, you can tweet us.
And we'll be going into the advertising platforms later across all the different.
But that's probably like a 2.5-hour class. So it's just a lot of details, and it's a lot of really specific knowledge that I don't want to bog you down with, because this was already a lot of knowledge here. So, well, at least I hope you feel that way. But
Did anybody have any questions at all before we wrap it up? All right. And again, if you have anything about your specific company page or situation that's coming on, please feel free to shoot us an email. Yes, it's what we do here. Yes, we get paid to do it. But also, if you just have a question, please feel free to shoot us a question. We'll respond. We're not going to be stingy about it. So, but thank you all very much.
Thank you.
thank you.